guys and gals, friends of YouTube. Well, we're back to work on this Edge 540 some more. I originally started out to do the engine as the first thing, but and I was going to do it on this segment, but my engine mount got messed up. The order got messed up. Horizon put the wrong zip code on it for some reason. Anyway, it got shipped back to them, and they reshipped it Friday, so it won't be here till Tuesday, tomorrow. So I'll end up doing the motor probably pretty much last. So we're just going to go ahead and move on with this and start working on the electronics and stuff and see what we can get done. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put our servos together, assemble those. You have to put your little grommets, or rubber bushings in there, and then your grommets. So on a JR, they've got these little wing things on them, and they go back to toward the servo. So slide those in. And big mistake I see a lot of people make is when you put your little brass grommet in there, people want to put it in from the top, and that's not the way it goes. It actually goes in from the bottom, and these on JRs are really stiff. I use a pair of needle nose to push them up in there, but you want that little ring like a washer on the bottom. If you put it the other way, it's going to squeeze down, and this sharp edge will just dig into your wood and loosen up eventually. So you want this on the bottom so it's kind of like a washer, and then the screw has got a big head on it, so that kind of serves as your washer on the top. So always put your grommets in from the bottom side, not the top. I just start them and squeeze them up in there with the pliers. Like I say, some of them aren't that stiff, but these JR ones always are. They fit really tight. But I really like JR servos. They're one of my favorites. A little higher, but you get what you pay for. I use quite a few high-techs. They're not too bad too. Futaba's good servos. They're good. I just don't like any aftermarket, all this cheap crap that's coming out. I don't trust them. So I always use a good name brand of servos myself. But anyway, we've got that one all the same. One more thing. Let's go ahead and take this horn off, and I'm going to use the longer ones that come with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick that on there for now, and we'll center them up and 90 degree them after we hook them up in the plane to the receiver. But just go ahead and put that on, put the screw back in it, and that's fully assembled now. And now what we got to do next is determine excuse me, we got to determine how long our servo lead is going to have to be from the back of the plane up to the fuselage. So we're going to stick one of these in there and kind of measure and see how long we need to make them to fit up here, and we'll make some leads. And you guys that don't build your own servo leads, you're going to have to buy some. I'm guessing probably at least a 12-inch. I don't know. I'll tell you here in a minute when we measure it out. But we'll go ahead and assemble the rest of these and get them laid out. And this is just the 3 for the tail section, 2 for the elevators, 1 for each half and 1 for the rudder, and then we'll do the throttle and choke later. But we'll get these laid out here and get some leads made, and then we'll be right back. Okay, I'm not sure which direction the servo goes with the wire, the back or front, so I'm going to measure it as if the wire is going to go from the back side. So we're going to just kind of lay this up here, and we're going to go to the farthest one back, which I believe this is the rudder. Anyway, we'll kind of stick that in there. Right here you can see where the end of the wire comes. So then from that point, actually what I'll do, and this will wipe right off with a little bit of alcohol so I don't lose my spot, I'll just put a little bitty mark on there with a Sharpie, and it will come right off. So we've got a 12-inch ruler here. Measure from there. There's 12 inches up to right here, and looking inside, the receiver is going to have to probably go somewhere right in here. So that would be another 2 inches. So I'm going to make these, just to be safe, I'm going to make these extensions 15 inches long, and that way that'll give me, let me make sure here, yeah, 2 more inches would be perfect. But I'll go, as a matter of fact, I'll just make them 16. I'll just go 16 inches, and that way we've got plenty of slack so whichever way they go, and we won't run out of room on those, and you don't want to put them in a bind and stretch them or anything. So let's get those made and then we'll be back. Okay guys, we got all of our leads finished. Got them put together with heat shrink so they won't pull apart inside the fuselage, and I did just a black one for the rudder since it's a single servo and each elevator has its own, so I did yellow and blue, and I'll put yellow on the right, blue on the left, just a habit I do, and that way I always know which is right and left. So anyway, let's get these boogers installed and see if we can get moving on this thing. Okay, this cavity's pretty open in here, so we're just gonna drop these lines right down through there and kind of pull them, straighten them out, and get the wrinkles out. Drop that down in there. Okay, our wire's down in there. Now, rudder. Let's see, let me get my book here real quick. I think it points backward also. Yeah, it does. And the arm goes down on it. So, we'll cut this top one off. We don't need that. Alright, let's drop that one down in there. Oops, went out the hole on the other side. Come on. Yeah, this one's being stubborn on me. Dang it. We have to get a little plumb bob a hold of it. Pull the string down there, it's not wanting to go down for whatever reason. Straight shot down through there, there's not even anything for it to hang on. Okay, let's try this again here. Okay. Now we're going. Okay. Got those two in. Let's I gotta go get my drill and we'll drill these holes. Okay, when you drill your holes, get your servo centered up in the hole to where it's not touching the sides if you can. Center it there for vibration. Just drill a hole in there. Go ahead and do that one. I got a pretty good grip on it with my hand, so. Now we're going to start the screws, and then we'll back those out and put CA in them. Use my little electric drill here on that. Make it a little easier. Okay. We're going to finish threading these in and then take them back out so we can put CA in them, and we'll be back after that. I'll try to keep these as short as I can. Okay, we've got all of our servos installed now back here, and the holes drilled and glued. Two on this side, of course. One's for elevator and one's for rudder, and then there's only one on the other side for the other half of the elevator. So now what we're going to do, we're not actually going to fully mount the receiver in here. We're just going to stick it in here for right now because we need to plug these in and make sure we get the arms and everything centered up before we hook the linkage up. So what I've got here, I've got a AR6200, which is a 6-channel. Later on I'm going to change this to a 7-channel, and the reason why is because as of right now you have to put your elevator halves on separate channels. You can't run them off a Y harness the way the servos are set up. So there's 2 channels, and then for now I'm going to set my ailerons on a Y harness, but I'll change that to where I can separate those to separate channels later. So there's a channel, and then I've got 2 ailerons, or no, a throttle, and let's see, elevator halves 2, rudder 1, ailerons 1, throttle 1, and choke I'll have a choke servo in this also. So there's my 6 channels. But later on, I'm going to change this out to an AR7000, and that way I can split my ailerons into separate channels also. So I'm going to get this plugged up here and get the radio turned on and everything, and then we'll be back in just a second. Okay, now what I've done is I just temporarily stuck some sticky back tape, double-sided sticky tape stuff, and stuck my receiver right here and the battery so it doesn't flop around while I'm turning this plane over and stuff. That's not where it'll probably go. I won't mount it yet because I don't know exactly where the choke and the throttle servo is going to go until I get the engine mounted. So we'll have to figure out where that linkage is going to come through, and then we'll set the receiver accordingly. It does have the little satellite receiver on it over here. So anyway, I've got it mounted temporary for now. And what I did, I have a JR9303. So I went into my radio and I piggybacked the gear channel to the elevator. And what that does, whenever you do piggyback a channel, ailerons or elevator, your right one always goes to the main elevator channel, and then the one you piggyback, the left one will go to it, which is the gear channel on this. Now I don't know how to tell you how to do this if you have a different radio. You'll have to look in your manual to your radio and figure out how to do that. But on a JR9303 or 9503, I can tell you how to do that, and you can just let me know. But anything else, you're going to have to look at your manual, because I'm not sure how your radio operates and everything. Excuse me. Anyway, we do have movement. Now what we're going to do, let me turn this around and get it over here where we can see it. We are going to set our servo arms at a 90 degree. So this on the left side will be our gear channel, the right one will be the elevator. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into subtrim, and it will show you two different, instead of AELE for elevator, now it'll say RELE, right elevator, and LELE for left elevator. So we're going to go to the left and click on that, and then we're going to turn that to exactly a 90 degree from the tail section. Okay, that one's good. Now let's go, let's see, yeah, rudder's to the back. Okay, so the rudder's pretty darn close, maybe a couple of clicks. Yeah, I went 12% and 10% on that, so movement. So I got them 90'd. Now let's go the other side, and here's why I taped my battery stuff in, so I can turn this over and not have to worry about it flopping around and damaging my receiver. Okay, that one is pretty close. Let's go to right elevator. There we go. Now both of these, the right and left, will work in the same direction, and they'll work exactly, they're exactly 90 degrees, so they'll work together. So now I've got to see if I need to reverse it. I should have checked that first. Okay, so elevator arm, up elevator is going to push back. That's good, it's right, so I don't have to reverse them. Rudder pushing back will give it right, so that's reversed. Alright, let's go into reversing, and we'll go to rudder, and we'll reverse that. Now if I push right, wait a minute, maybe it was right. Hang on. Push back. Yeah, it was. Never mind. I'm having a brain fart this morning. Okay. Right rudder. The stick will push back. That's right. Okay, we're good. Didn't have to reverse any of that. Alright, now, since we have all that done, we can mount our control horns and our linkage. And let me get all that ready, and I'll be right back. Okay. Well, get ready to mount the control horns on here. It's going to go all the way over closest to the end by the fuselage to line up, if you can see that, with a 90 degree from the servo arm back. You want it as straight as possible. So it'll go almost over to the edge. There again, remember to line your holes up with the front edge of this crack, the seam between your control surface and your wing. Alright, now if I can hold that. Let's get a bolt in that one. There again, we're going to go from the top side on this so that our bolts come out the bottom. We'll cut them off like we did the other ones. That one. Okay, now get it square. I may have to get an extension. Yeah, I'm going to have to get an extension to go in there, because my drill is going to rub against the covering. You don't want to tear a hole in it. So, oops, the wrong one. I've got an extension here. I'll put in there. Okay, now get it held, turned right. Alright. Drill back out. Now let's rotate that around. Get a screw in that one. Get it to line up. Okay, I'll get my little electric screwdriver. Push it through. There we go. Alright. Double check them. Still lined up. Now let's very carefully do the third one. There we go. Lined up with the other side. Okay. Okay, now we need our Loctite. Get my pen, open it up, stops up like super glue does. Just dries up there in the end. Well, look at that. Pulled the whole deal off. Need a paper towel here. Alright, we get it open? Nope. I poked myself with a pen here. There it went. Got it down in there. Okay. Put a little Loctite on those. We'll do these two first. And our little bolts, or nuts, I mean. I'm going to start this using this screwdriver. Okay. Now we can thread it on down pretty good. Let's get this one started. Alright. Those two tight. Now, this bottom one's a little harder to get to down here. Put some Loctite on it. And I'm probably going to end up dropping this one. Maybe not. I think I got it. Let's see here. Yep. Just run that on down. Alright, we got one side of the elevator in, right here. So I'm not going to do the filming on the other half because it's exactly the same thing. So we'll go ahead and get that installed, and then I'll come back and we'll do the rudder also. We'll do the same thing. We'll line it up with the servo arm. I'm just going to kind of skip parts of that since it's all pretty much the same thing. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've got something here that is wrong in the manual. You can see right here, it shows this is the back end of the plane, the back end of the fuselage. It shows the servo with the horn off-center to the back, and also the other side. Well, here's what's funny. When you do that, alright, I've got this clevis on here. Let's see if I can get around and stay out in front of the camera. That rod's too long. There's no way you can screw it up far enough to clear. So this servo needs to go, disregard the book on this. I'm going to have to pull this back out and rotate it, take this servo out, but this arm has to go offset to the front of the fuselage, not the back. So the book's wrong on that. Or either that or they cut their linkage wrong. So, but that's the only way it's going to work. I'm going to have to turn that around. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got this one rotated now. I also have to rotate my control horn, servo horn back up, so I have to take it off the splines. Now what I'm going to need to do is go back into the sub trims, and this is the right side, so it'll be right elevator. I'm going to take that back to 0 and then see if I can center it with the splines the best I can. No, so pretty close right there. Alright, now I've got that recentered. I can put my screw back in. Okay, alright, now I can back this back off a little ways of my rod and still have plenty of thread. They just had it wrong in the book. So when you get to that part, putting your servos in the tail end, I haven't checked the rudder yet, but the elevator servos, put them in just opposite of what it says. Turn the offset to the front of the plane and not the back. So now let's see what we got. Okay, that's more like it. That's going to reach. So let me get a little Loctite on this end. The only other way to have done this would have been cut off these rods, and you would have lost a lot of your threading by doing that. So it's better just rotate your servo around. Okay, let's see what we can come up with here. Screw that a little ways. This one, the Loctite's already starting to set, so back that off. Now let's see what we got. That's pretty close right there. So I'm betting I have to drill these out. Let me see. Golly, they're tight. Yeah, I'll have to drill these holes out. Let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I wallowed out my hole just a little bit in the servo horn. Now, one thing I don't want to forget, and I've already screwed these on, so I'm not going to take them off, but your little rubber safety keepers for your clevises. That's where the little needle nose, the skinny nose, needle nose come in handy. You can put that in there like that and stick that right down over that. Real easy. See? And I'll do the other end. Get them on there before I forget. I'll do the other ones before I screw the top on it. Okay. Spread them apart. There we go. And we'll just slide them down to right there for now until we get it all adjusted, and then we'll slide them up. Okay. This end here I've already tightened up. So I'm going to put it on the servo end, and then we'll make our adjustment from the back. Now let me see if I can get that thing on there. Okay, she's lined up. Now I'm going to go ahead and scoop my rubber safety up there and then scoot it right back against the little back into that, so when it turns, it won't get in a bind. All right, now let's see what we got on this. Doggone it. Okay, we're gonna have to screw it in just a little bit. Oh, my silly Loctite's already setting up on me too, so get a hold of it with 2 pair of pliers. I don't want to bind my servo arm up there. Okay, now let's see where we are. Another half a turn. What that's gonna do. Pretty darn close right there. Need to turn this just a little bit, hair more. Get it perfectly 90 degree with that front one. Now I'm gonna put this in the second hole down. Looks like I'm gonna have to wallow that hole just a little bit. Be careful not to hit your covering under there while you're doing this. It will poke a hole in it. Well, why that's not wanting to go in there. Let me get another one here and see what we got. Dropping things everywhere. Hang on. Okay. See why that's not fitting. Yeah, it goes on there. I'm just not getting it pushed through good. It's really stiff. There. We got him. Now let's get that lined up. Okay, now before we tighten it or anything, we're going to check, and if your elevator is just slightly off, then what's good about this, and with your ailerons too, you can go into your sub trim and you can trim that just perfect on both sides. And that's what we're going to do with the ailerons later on. Right now I'm just going to use a Y harness, but got that one perfect. Now at this point I can go ahead and slide my rubber safety down a little ways, and we can put a little bit Loctite on here again and lock our nut down. You're going to need a couple pair of pliers to do this with, or a little wrench, whatever. I'm just going to grip this rod with these pliers and cinch that down against that clevis. Okay, now she's done. She ain't gonna come loose. Now these servos are operating real slow because I've just got them on a 4.8 little bench battery. They'll be faster than that on 6 volt. Alright, we got that one 90 degree. So I'm going to do the other side, which is identical. We're going to rotate the servo around, move the arm to the top, and then I got to cut these off. I got to do that, but anyway, we'll do the other side, and then I'll be back and do the rudder. Okay, and we've repeated the same step on the other side for the elevator half. We've got them both centered up, sub-trimmed exactly the same. We've installed the control horn on the rudder. and we had to do the same thing on the servo on the rudder. I had to flip it around. So when you get to this step in the book, in the pictures, it shows the offset servo horn to the rear. That's not right. You're gonna have to turn them around. The linkage is too long to put them that way. So turn those servos with the offset toward the front, and then they'll line up just perfect. And anyway, got good working rudder and elevator. So that's it on the control surfaces. The only thing we have to do on that now is set the throws, and I'll wait and do that when I get the wing on it and do the ailerons all at one time. So we'll set the throws later. That'll probably be the end of this segment. Okay, one little part on the tail section I almost forgot. You got some strut wires that goes back here. Now you'll need these little brass fittings that are in with the metal screws and stuff. There's 4 of them and 8 washers, 2 on, or 1 on each side of the wing, and nuts. And then these 2 little brackets you'll need out to mount to the fuselage. Here's the 4 wires that go with it. I've already took the liberty of threading on the clevises to save a little time. They're just plastic. Thread them on there. You will need 8 more pieces of your safety fuel hose. Let's just go ahead and slide them up on here right now. And what we'll do is we'll slide them right up on the nipple of that so they won't fall off. And get them ready. Then the other ones we'll put on the other end. Actually, I'm going to put 2 on each one because we're going to slide one up to the other end on the safety lock. So let me get these on here. Push that up. Go. One more. Put that on there. Okay. Now, you'll need your drill bit. It matches the size of this to drill your holes through. So let's very carefully see if we can drill them straight through here. I guess actually they already feel like they're pre-drilled. But just, here's a funny part. Huh. They're not long enough to go through there. Well, isn't that just wonderful? Unless there's... No, they're all the same length. Well, that's just great. They give you these to put on there, and they're not even long enough to thread a nut onto. There's no way you can put a washer on that and catch it with a nut. So, I'm not real sure what to do here. Let me see if I can get a nut started. See if I can kind of countersink them a little bit. Now the nut will start without the washer. I guess that's what we're going to do, just leave the washer off of this side because there's no way, it's just not long enough to go through there. So let's get our Loctite out. I think I put it back up. I like Seagull models. I've had 2 or 3. I've been pretty happy with them. But there's a couple of things on 1 or 2 of them that I don't like. This is one of them. That's crazy. They didn't even give you enough room there, length, for this to thread through there. So I'm not real happy about that. I don't think it'll ever pull through. But you know, still they give you a part that's supposed to fit a certain way and it doesn't. So it's kind of not cool. I will do a review on this, and when I do, I will probably mention some of this stuff in the review. Well, I don't know if I can get that squeezed up there enough to grab it or not. I may have to pull these out of here and countersink those holes a little bit. Get it up in there. This one is not wanting to catch at all. Alright, let me see what I can come up with this and I'll be back. Okay, I got them all in there, but I could not use the washers. There wasn't enough room, so got those mounted now. one of these. Just don't lose our little rubber deal. I'm going to take my needle nose to pop this open. These plastic ones. That will fasten right there. Okay, now let's see. Let me get my buck. Okay, the short one goes to the back. It will mount right there. Get that straight. Okay. Get my drill back out. Get a pen, mark those. Alright. Now, my drill bit that I need for these screws. A little bit smaller. A tighter hole, so, okay. Okay, we're going to drill these, put the screw in them, and then back them out, and put Loctite in. But let me go ahead and get this other one marked here, and we'll just drill them all, do them all at the same time. Okay, that one. Go right there. Get it square 90 degree. Now, yeah, that'll work. Okay. Now, let's use our little electric drill. Get those up out of the way. We'll poke ourselves in the eyeball. Okay. Alright, we'll get all these drilled out and then we'll be right back. Okay, we've got all 4 of our holes drilled and dropped the NCA in them. Now, let's go ahead and put these brackets on here. Started. See if I can do it without dropping any screws, huh? I'll get that off a little bit. Well, let's see. I can get this one started in the hole. Got just a hair off, but I think it'll pull down in there all right. Okay, it pulled up tight. Now, let's do this one. See if I can poke myself in the eye here yet. Okay, those tightened up good. Now, see if we can, I'm going to take these with a regular pair of pliers, just right next to the fuselage. I'm going to bend down on it just a little to get it in an angle toward this. Let's do the same thing to this side. Don't have to be much. Okay. Alright, now, here's what we do on these. You take this and your Sharpie, I hope you can see this, right over the hole. I'm going to mark it. Let's go ahead and do this one, where we want our 90 degree. Now, put the lid back on this, and got, now let me find them. You can do it with regular stiff needle nose or pliers. I have this nifty little set of 3 prongs. This is, again, out of the dental business. That's what I've been class bar with, so it works real good for this too. So I'm going to put that right on my line, and I'm going to bend this straight down. Oh, shoot. Okay, now take my cutters. We're going to cut off all but about about 1/4 of an inch, I guess. Maybe not that much. Now my bend's a little off, so what I'm going to do is take a hold of this back here and hold on to it, and I'm going to crank it in until it lines up with the hole. A little bit more. Just almost. Now let's take the pliers and bend this on around just a little. And then I actually need to cut it off just a hair more. Man, that stuff's tough. About need to get my Dremel after it. Okay, make sure it fits in the hole, but it's not torquing too much. I need to back this out 1 turn. Okay, that's perfect. Still a tiny bit of slack. Now, what we've got is the little safety clip on that end. And that you put on the end of the wire. Oh, don't tell me these aren't going to fit. Yeah, they do. It's just tight. Okay, you put that down on the end of the wire under there. Then take the groove and snap it in place like that. And then again, here's where we're going to do this. We're going to slide this down. If I don't knock a hole in it. It's kind of hard to get over that. I can't get it on there. Didn't want to go up over it. I've put them on these things before, but oh well, I guess I'm going to leave them off. I can't get them to fasten over that. But anyway, the one up here on your clevis, now go ahead and slide it up. And this is not going to flex or anything like a servo, so you can run it all the way up against that. And then we'll do the other ones of these and show you the rest of it. Okay, we've got all the strut wires connected to the stab. If you'll notice, I was pulling this rubber deal down and my pliers slipped off and I poked a little hole in the wing right here. Well, you remember where I told you to keep all your little scrap pieces that you cut out, like your servos and where the wing goes and all that? Alright, just make sure you got the glue side down. Take your heating iron. Melt it right down on there. Luckily it's on the bottom where it's not even going to show, so. There you go. Perfect little patch. That's why I keep all those little scrap pieces. Just for that right there. Well, you just don't know when you're going to poke a little tiny hole or something. It didn't take much at all to patch that. So, alright. Now, we are definitely done with the tail feathers. Everything's hooked up, except we haven't set the throws, which I said we'll do that later. Alright. That'll be the end of this one for sure, and we'll move on. Part 6 will be mounting the engine.